Welcome back to Wake Up America. I'm Allison Maloney. As we mentioned earlier in the show, the Army is 247 years old today. Joining us to talk about the significance and importance of our armed service is retired U.S. Army Green Beret with over 30 years of experience, Josh Johnson, and retired Air Force Brigadier General and Newsmax contributor Blaine Holt. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us and thank you for your service.
Great to be with you.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. All right, Josh, I want to start with you. You hold a master's degree in organizational leadership. You're currently the director of leadership development for Talent War Group, and you joined the Army right out of high school. Can you sum up what the Army has meant to you?
Look, just under 32 years in the Army, the Army has almost been everything to me and my family. I mean, we grew up in it completely. So the opportunity to say happy birthday on such an amazing day is pretty cool. I appreciate it.
Of course. General Holt, you have collaborated with the Army plenty in your decorated military career, and you sent us some photos from your C-17 jet. Can you talk about these experiences?
Absolutely. I've always loved working with the Army. In fact, as you know, the Air Force spawned from the Army in 1947. Love working in joint operations with them as a C-17 pilot. My Army brothers and sisters are really only interested in half the flight. They seem to want to get out of the airplane midway through, as you're looking at. But happy birthday, Army, and it's great to be on with Josh.
Absolutely. Josh, we do see that enrollment is down in the military in many of the branches. What would you say to people who maybe are on the fence about joining the Army or any part of the military branch?
Well, I'll tell you, we hear all over the nation that people are complaining about the rising cost of education. The military paid for a master's degree for me. Out of all of my training, I think I paid $800 for both degrees. So it's a great opportunity. Not only are you going to get an education out of it, you're going to get some experience out of it that's going to put some bite behind what you're trying to sell on the backside.
Yeah, General Holt, that experience, I know a lot of people who have served, and that experience is something that you don't get anywhere else. And so if you do decide to get out of the military and then you take a job in the public sector, really, you have so many skills. Talk to us about what the skills people take away when they're in the armed forces.
Well, it's incredible. It's one of the greatest resources for our country because this is one of the most upwardly mobile possibilities for an American citizen. Look at General Shalikashvili, a great Army general who started out as an enlisted person and rose all the way to 4-star rank and statesman and beyond. And so really, if you have the ability to really work hard and apply yourself, you can not only learn, but you can give back to the nation in a way that we wouldn't have been able to have otherwise. It's an incredible, incredible method for any American to rise.
Josh, you've been part of the military, as you mentioned, for a significant part of your life and your family. Talk to us about some of the things. You got your master's, you served with amazing people, but what other skills did you get from being in the military, and why do you think it's so important, for young folks especially, to consider this as either a career or a stepping stone to advancing, their leadership skills?
So for 247 years, the military, specifically the Army, has been the premier leadership laboratory. We're asking people to do things in austere environments. We're asking them to do them with limited resources and very short time. And the amazing things that the people in the military can come up with, specifically in the Army, will amaze you on a daily basis. Leadership is the premier thing that everyone walks away from being in the military with.
General Holt, as I was talking to Josh about, the enrollment is down for a lot of our branches. Why do you think it is, and what do you think the military needs to do to get more people, men and women, to join?
Men and women in the armed forces are at their best, and they're most satisfied with their jobs when they are focused on their mission. And these forays into social engineering, this woke culture, getting away from meritocracy and looking at equity systems, these distractions, vac standards, and then, quite frankly, very bluntly, what we saw at the end of Afghanistan with the fall of Kabul doesn't make for a very good recruiting ground. But what I can say is that America still needs her sons and daughters to join the service and place service before self.
Yeah, Josh, I don't know if you saw Top Gun 2, but a lot of people have. And a lot of people said this was a great movie because it inspired people, to maybe join the military. It was not a woke movie. This is exactly what the American public needed to see.
So here's the thing about being in the military. When you're there, you're working for the guy or the girl to your right and left. And all of the politics and everything gets pushed to the side. And that's what happens when you come back. That's what happens when you come off of deployment, or that's what happens when you come out of the field. But when you're in the field and when you're with your brothers and sisters to your left and right, there's a bond that is built, and there's a dedication to a cause that's above self. And everyone that's been part of it knows exactly what I'm talking about. And people across America, especially our youth, are looking for something that means something. And the military is someplace to find that.
Absolutely, that bond for sure. Josh Johnson, General Blaine Holt, thank you so much for joining us. And of course, thank you so much for your service.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
You too. All right, Rob?